My name is Kelly Bagby. I'm a disability rights and civil rights attorney. I have practiced civil rights law for about 30 years. The ADA has been basically one of the most important statutes for people with disabilities to be able to secure employment. Before the ADA, it was really difficult not only to get a job, but also to be integrated in society. And a lot of people with disabilities were forced to live in institutions where, of course, they could not get jobs. I am a subject matter expert in the ADA. I have litigated cases for about 25 years, implementing the ADA and seeking enforcement for the ADA. I particularly focus on people who are forced to be institutionalized and try to force states and local governments to allow people to live their best lives in their own homes and to be able to age in place rather than having to depend on institutional care. But with regard to people securing employment, I've worked very hard over the many years to assist people who have disabilities so that they can have jobs, make money, live dignified lives, contribute to society, and really help businesses to understand and embrace people with disabilities so that they are also benefiting from the diverse opinions and innovation of people with disabilities. The impact that I want to have for people with disabilities is equity. I want them to have an equal chance for the jobs that are available. Sometimes that means that the job might have to change slightly for them. There might have to be some sort of accommodation to meet their needs as a person with a disability. But I think that what I also strive for is that is justice, is that people with disabilities have a just chance to have the same opportunities that people without disabilities have. And that means good jobs, good pay, services where they want to get them, and to be able to have access to the things that people without disabilities have, which means maybe curb cuts, maybe it means restaurants have to make changes, might mean hotels have to make changes, it might mean that employers have to make changes. But that is what I strive for as an advocate for people with disabilities. The ultimate hero that I have in the disability space is Justice Ginsburg. She was the author of the landmark case for people with disabilities under the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is called LC versus Olmstead. And Justice Ginsburg wrote the opinion that has formed the basis of much of the work that I do. But what is so critical about that is that she defined very clearly that the idea that people with disabilities might have to be institutionalized is on its face discrimination. And she interpreted the ADA as saying that the ADA, it must be interpreted to provide everyone an equal opportunity for all things, all services, all restaurants, all airplane flights, all jobs. The most difficult part of fighting for people with disabilities is this pervasive prejudice that they are somehow other than everyone else. And that is something that I try to fight with the law and try to get courts to make decisions to change that perception. But it's really what has to happen is people culturally have to check themselves on their biases and their prejudices. And only when that becomes like an everyday thing, that people are checking their own idea of what people are and who they are and what they're capable of, will we really be able to advance the work that the ADA is intending us to do. The most rewarding part of my work with people with disabilities is meeting my clients, meeting the people who have disabilities, working with them, hearing what it is they want. And I had a client once told me she was in a wheelchair and she was living in a nursing facility, and all she wanted to do was be able to wheel her wheelchair down the road and be free and just live her life like any other person can, and just, go for a roll in her chair and enjoy being outside. Like, that's so beautiful and poignant, because what people are seeking is just normalcy. They just want to be normal. I'm really happy to hear about organizations like Getting Hired that are affirmatively advancing the cause of people with disabilities to get jobs. I mean, it's that kind of affirmative behavior and creation of opportunities that is necessary to overcome that cultural discrimination I described. I mean, I think that part of what has to happen is there needs to be a focus on really creating equitable opportunities for people who have disabilities, so that people will see them in a colorblind, disability-blind way, and really give them the opportunity to do what it is they want to do, which is going to be a huge improvement to these companies once they hire them, because these people have very innovative views, and they've lived their lives facing different kinds of things, and that kind of diversity can only help these companies. I think that the inclusion of people with different viewpoints helps everyone. It helps the community of people with disabilities for sure, but it also helps the corporations to learn that they've sort of been missing out on the views of this very valuable group of people. And it could, I think there's going to be synergy there to not only help the corporations to broaden their somewhat limited perspective, but certainly for people with disabilities, the opportunities could be endless. The things that they could accomplish when they're really given a fair shake is, could be, there's no limits.